Hi YouTube, how are you guys? If even more than one person watched this video, I should say. I used to get a lot more viewers on my channel, but I had an old channel and I talked about conspiracy theories and Eastern spirituality. And I think the conspiracy theory stuff was generating views. I have schizophrenia, so I believe very strongly in conspiracy theories at the time. And that was getting me views. And the Eastern spirituality stuff was too. And I was involved in more niche markets. And I was also marketing myself a lot too. I don't know why I was getting more views back then. If I was more interactive with the community, I'd probably be able to generate more views. But I don't know if I could handle that many viewers right now with my mental illness. And I've come a long ways. I'm keeping on my older videos, even though some of what I'm saying is probably kind of crazy in my older videos. If my older videos are even up, I'm not 100% sure. I'll take a look, I guess. But basically, I've come a long ways, and I attribute almost all of it to Eastern spirituality. And I'm becoming more present to the moment. And one of the things that I've realized is that everyone is at a different level, and there's different things required for different people at different levels. And so I shouldn't expect everybody to be at the same level or even more advanced than I am. Not that I'm that advanced, but I've come a long way since my mental illness. I got into Eastern spirituality before. I've been mentally ill since I was like 11 years old, but even as a child, I was probably had some symptoms of bipolar disorder, which I know it sounds crazy. Schizophrenia, you're saying you're bipolar. My diagnosis is bipolar before it was schizophrenia, and I have symptoms of both. So, according to disability, I have both schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. I am on disability, though my therapist says that I am schizoaffective bipolar type. So that's not an official diagnosis, I don't think. And that's basically like, I don't know which one fits me. I'm not an expert. So, but if it's possible to be schizophrenic and bipolar at the same time, I would think that's what I would have, because it's been a tough road for me. It's been a really, really tough road, and a lot of suffering. Still in a lot of pain, but it's gotten a lot better. Anyways, you know, I don't know, it's been crazy, and I was fully insane. I know what it is to be insane. It is not fun. It is not fun to be insane. Holy crap, it was not fun. It's horrible to lose touch with reality. It's horrible, especially when it's in a very negative way. But anyways, so not everybody is at your level. Like when, so there's more advanced techniques than presence, being present in the moment. Inner body awareness is more advanced, in my opinion. I guess I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure inner body awareness is more advanced than presence. But some people aren't ready for presence yet. One of the reasons I think that inner body awareness is more advanced than presence, I should say, is because the body is where emotions exist. So you're aware of the space where emotions exist and facing emotions. Presence almost gets you out of your emotions, and so you're invalidating your emotions. And invalidating your emotions is good, but it's not as good as focusing directly on your emotions, your negative emotions and stuff like that. Some people say that you shouldn't focus on the negative. That's the first step. The first step is invalidating negative emotions, or not facing negative emotions and trying to be positive. And then the second step is to be fully accepting of negativity and facing it fully. Facing negativity fully is much more potent than trying to be positive. It's like you're running headlong into it instead of trying to avoid it, and it just changes who you are. It makes you a person who is willing to go through more, and it makes you much more solid as a human being. That said, not everybody is going to be your level. So it can be very frustrating when you learn about this stuff, or even if you've been doing it for a long time. But when you learn about this stuff, one of the first things you realize is that most people don't want to do this stuff with you. And that's very hard to deal with. I don't know if I've gotten anybody into presence. With my old YouTube channel, I know that I was reaching people who practice Eastern spirituality. It's hard to even believe that it was real. It's part of my schizophrenia. It's hard for me because of my old YouTube channel. I had a friend on there, and I started accusing him of being a spy and of being somebody else. And he was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And it's like, was that even real, or was he a robot? Like, schizophrenia is so bad. It's so horrible. But anyways, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. It's horrible. And then all just compulsive thinking of going back and forth. Is reality real, or is everybody a robot? Like, and there's evidence for it. You make evidence for it anyways. And so the evidence seems very real to me. And so just going back and forth and thinking that your parents are robots, and like, it's better than it was, though. I used to think they were the devil. So, so just continuous progress, I suppose. Anyways, I'm trying to deliver some good news about not everybody being on the same level, because they're still on the right path for themselves, or they're still on a decent path for themselves. It might not be the best path, but why is it, like, if you read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, which talks about being present at the moment, it lays out the dysfunctions of the human mind so freaking perfectly. And you'd think that you'd have to be a moron to not want to be present to the moment. There was one guy, I started telling him to be present to the moment, and he was like, this is on my DeviantArt account, and I guess I don't know if I want to get any of my art out. Yeah, I think I might have my art stuff up in this closet. Anyways, he was like, no, you should think about the future continuously, and I was like, look, you can still think about the future some, and I was like, the problem is compulsive thinking, not deliberate thoughts of the future. Deliberate thoughts of the future are fine, but it's the compulsive, which means forced, like you're forced to think about the future. Compulsive means it's just happening to you automatically. It's like automatic. You can't stop. You have to do it. Compulsory means you have to do it. So compulsive thoughts are probably not a good thing. But deliberate thoughts, which means that you're doing it with intention and with purpose, you are doing it. It's not happening to you. You are doing it. Deliberate thoughts are, I wouldn't want to do it all day long. I'm not a big fan of thinking, but you would want to. I'm a creative type. I'm an artist. I used to. I have a graphic novel that I have partially, some of it laid out and stuff like that, or some of it created, and I had to think to come up with that stuff. That stuff was enjoyable to me back in the day. With my mental illness, it'd be hard for me to do that, but anyways, it's like, just want to see the still recording. Yep. Okay. Anyways, so I was trying to tell him compulsive thoughts are the problem. What you're saying is that if you're present in the moment, you can't have deliberate thoughts. No, you can still have deliberate thoughts. You can have deliberate thoughts and be present at the same time. But it's the compulsive thoughts that go away. And he's like, you're being biased. And I was like, look, man, the scientific studies that show that mindfulness, which being present in the moment is basically a form of mindfulness, or it's according to Harvard, being present in the moment is what they call mindful. So there's like a Harvard article about how it has all these health benefits and everything. And I'm like, look, man, there's tons of scientific evidence that shows that being present in the moment is a good thing, etc. And he's like, it's pseudoscience, which means it's not real science. Like, he's basically saying I'm full of it, and like there's no benefit to it, and he's saying that I'm being biased and stuff like that. When I'm listening, and he's quoting to me skeptics, like a skeptics site that says that positive thinking isn't good for you and stuff like that. And it's like, man, people rationalize anything. And so, it was like he was saying that I was being unscientific, and I'm talking to him about the science and the studies that have been done that show that it's effective cognitive behavioral therapy. It's considered to be the most effective therapy that exists by psychiatrists and by therapists. And he's telling me this unscientific and that's full of crap and that doesn't work at all. And so it's hard for me to hear that and be like, you know what, that guy's like, at the time, especially because I didn't know this, at the time it was hard for me. But now I realize, like, that guy is what I call, he's on a path of excitement. Most human beings are on what I call a path of excitement or a path of hardship. And what they're doing is they're getting future chasing out of their system. So, let me say that when I first learned about pickup artistry, going on talking to women with the intention of basically having sex with them or with dating them, the intention of dating them and having sex with them. And I went out and I decided I was going to draw women on the street and so that I would work on my art career and becoming an artist, because I was very serious about that, and work on having relationships with women at the same time and getting better and better and better at that. When I first learned about that, I was so excited that I lost so much sleep because of excitement. And then when I started working and you have situations that are, of opportunities, when you have opportunities, I mean, you lose sleep over that. Like when you're new, especially, and I did that for 2 years, and then my schizophrenia hit me like a ton of bricks, and I haven't been able to do it since then. I was just starting to get good at it, man. And it was so hard because I was just starting to get results, and then I had to get taken away from it with my mental illness. But hopefully, if there's a coronavirus vaccine, hopefully I can get back into that, because it was so much growth. So much growth, you have no idea, and it was so enjoyable. Just the process of it. It was the most fun I had in my entire life. But when I first learned about that, I lost sleep over it. And I was 26 years old when I first learned about it. And if you can imagine, what if I found out about that when I was 12? How much more excited, because everything was so much more exciting when I was 12 years old. How much more excited would I have been if I had discovered that as a 12-year-old? I wouldn't have been able to have handled it. It would have been way too exciting for me. How much more sleep would I have lost? I would have gone bananas, dude. I wouldn't have been able to take it. It would have been too exciting for me. So what would I have done as a 12-year-old if someone had told me about that? I would have written it off and not done it because I couldn't handle it. So now you're starting to see one of the main, possibly, though I'm not sure, I haven't done research. This is just my theory. I've never heard anyone else talk about this theory. One of the main reasons I believe that people do not get into Eastern spirituality is because it would be too exciting for them to handle. Because it's such a good path of growth and development. So, people who aren't ready to get into Eastern spirituality, are on a path of excitement. They're getting future chasing and excitability out of their system so that they can handle such a good path eventually. Not maybe in this lifetime, hopefully eventually though. And it's hard. It was a lot of suffering to be able to become ready for this sort of thing. Now, this is just my theory, and I think it makes sense to me because I wouldn't have been able to, and because I don't think I could have handled presence as a 12-year-old. I think I would have written it off. Maybe it's easier to get. Previous to this, I was under the understanding it's easier to get kids into Eastern spirituality. But then you realize that even in the East, take Buddhism for example, or even Hinduism, many people in India and Asia, I don't know exactly where Buddhism is practiced, but Hinduism and Buddhism, and other forms of Eastern spirituality, I guess, that involve meditation, many people don't practice it well. There is so much suffering and misery in the East. So much suffering and misery in the East. So, my theory is that they're not ready, and it's not because they're inferior people. Take a celebrity, a Western celebrity, an American celebrity, who's not willing to do presence. I'm going to talk about Katy Perry, and then I'm going to finish the video. Katy Perry said that, I don't remember one in the last few years, maybe, with the album that had, I think, Rise and Chain of the Rhythm on it. She said the external validation wasn't doing it for her anymore. And she said that, combined with Orlando Bloom leaving her, though they're back together, or they were at the time that I saw this interview, almost drove her into suicide. And she said she would just sit, she said if it wasn't for gratitude, she would have just wallowed in misery. She said gratitude saved, I think she might have said gratitude saved her life, but gratitude saved her, according to her. Being grateful for what she had every day. She said she'd wake up and try to be grateful for what she had. Now, that is past and future and thinking, so is gratitude as good as presence? It depends on how you practice it. If you are cultivating a sense of gratitude, it might be as effective as presence. But if you're thinking and trying to be grateful for stuff, it's okay, but it's not like the greatest thing in the world, in my opinion. But maybe I'm just not ready to do that yet with my mental illness. But this could be my mental illness, but I'm not sure whether positive emotions are pseudo pleasures or not. Eckhart Tolle, I think this could be my schizophrenia. I might have hallucinated this. I have hallucinated parts of Eckhart Tolle's teachings that did not exist, and I would quote it, and it would be different than what it actually was, and then it would change. It's just bizarre. Hallucinations suck because it makes it so you don't know what's real and what isn't. But anyways, there's a lot of pseudo pleasure involved in future chasing, for instance, instead of just being nice and present at the moment. So, Katy Perry, the future chasing and the excitement and the positive emotions and the external situations being good didn't do it for her anymore because she was on that path of excitement. And then she overcame that stuff. And then what happened? She went into the body because she was less emotional. She was more present to the moment because she was less emotional. And it meant that there was more of her to face the negativity that existed inside of her body. I could be wrong about this. I could be wrong. It could have been mental illness. It could have been entirely because Orlando Bloom left her. I don't know what it was, but she said that she was miserable because the validation wasn't doing it for her as well. It could be that what she had been chasing her entire life was no longer fulfilling. But see, that takes future away from you. And then you go into the body. And this is the path that a lot of people are on. Chasing future until it doesn't do it for you anymore. And then you go into the next path. And then that doesn't do it for you anymore. And then you go to the next thing. And that doesn't do it for you anymore. And then you're working and in misery. Like you have your job and you're miserable and all of that stuff. And I had to work for a while and it sucked, man. Especially mental illness, it made work way more difficult. Thankfully I don't have to work anymore, but for now. For now, who knows? I'm paranoid, but anyways, it's so hard. I don't think, if my life depended on it, I don't think I could hold a job down right now. I probably couldn't. It depended on, like pushing carts at a grocery store, I could maybe do for like a couple hours a day, but I don't think that I don't even know if I could do that. But anyways, I wouldn't want to risk it. So even if my life depended on it, I might not be able to work. And there was a while there with my schizophrenia where even if my life had depended on it, I could not have worked. So that's pretty crazy. So Katy Perry was disillusioned, and it created enormous suffering in her. And we'll see if she grows from it. She's probably going to grow from that and become a better person. So that's where I'm saying she's on a path of excitement. And that's the path that most people are on. And it involves suffering and misery and being disillusioned again and again. And I was on it until I learned about presence. And many of you are on it, unless you were raised learning about presence as a small child. You also were on a path of excitement. Getting future chasing out of your system and on that path. And so, you never know when someone's going to be ready to start practicing presence. You never know. My mom is dabbling in it now. She's dabbling in it. She watched a video on mindfulness, she told me. So, she might be ready within her lifetime. She's 65 years old, I think. So who knows? She may or she may not. She may not. So who knows? But it's not. There's a lot of really bad stuff. I said I was going to end on Katy Perry, so I'm going to end it soon. There's a lot of really bad stuff in the world, and there's a lot of people who have really, really, really messed up mental structures. Really messed up mental structures. They create enormous amounts of suffering for people in this world. And I believe in free will, but hopefully there's a little bit of like a safety net going on too. Because it just, everything looks so bad, but hopefully some of the bad stuff there's a reason for. I'm not saying there's a reason for all the bad stuff, but hopefully for some of the bad stuff, like people making mistakes and going down paths that seem wrong and stuff like that, hopefully there's a reason for some of that stuff. And one of that could be to get future chasing out of their system. And even after, and this is huge, I almost wasn't going to mention this, but it just occurred to me. Even after you learn about presence, or inner body awareness, or focus training, which is laser focus on your heart or on any other part of your body, your brain, whatever, laser focus. Close your eyes to it. You can't multitask while doing focus training. This is something, it's not like a huge invention. Oh, well, maybe it is, I don't know. But this is something I come up with, and it's like, it's more than inner body awareness. Because you can't multitask while doing it. You can multitask and do inner body awareness at the same time. You cannot multitask and do focus training at the same time. Therefore, it takes more of your consciousness to do it. Therefore, it is a more productive technique. Furthermore, I think focus is more powerful than awareness. There's a difference between focus, awareness, alertness, presence, etc. These are attention. There's a difference between all of these. They all feel different, and they're all using different parts of the body. You use different parts of the body to do these things. I call them nodes, so I might talk about that in another video. But the point being, focus training was super effective for me before my mental illness got really bad. It was super effective, and hopefully it'll become effective again someday. I haven't been able to do it for like over 5 years, at least not very much. I can do it here and there, but hopefully I can get back into doing it. I haven't been able to practice presence very much, either because of my mental illness. It makes it really hard to do that stuff. But I'm becoming more present at the moment, even without practicing it. It's crazy. I think it's because I've suffered so much, but I don't know. But, I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to suffer anymore. It's horrible. But anyways, so, yeah. Even after you learn about presence, you're still on the path of excitement. Or you can still be on a path of excitement. You should still chase ego gratification. But being aware that it is ego gratification, you should still chase what you want, chase excitement, chase all that stuff, because that's getting it out of your system, and be present through it. Or you could focus. Instead of presence, you could cultivate focus, which I think focus is very powerful. You could cultivate attention, you could cultivate awareness. Be aware. Like, that one sounds like, oh, be aware. Okay, instead of being present, be aware. It's just as being aware is actually maybe a little bit more effective than presence. I like awareness more than presence. Be aware. What does that feel like? I'm being aware right now. Oh, that's wonderful. Focus. Instead of being aware, focus. I'm focusing right now. Boom, like, just focus on what's in front of you. More focus. And then presence. I'm doing presence, and it's like right here. I'm present in the moment. This is wonderful. Very peaceful. So, there's different types of Eastern spirituality, different things you can do, and focus is my favorite. I believe everybody has a specific type of energy. I cannot read other men's energy to know what their energy is, and sometimes I can read a girl's energy. Sometimes, and I had a girl tell me that my energy was lather energy, and that corroborates with how I experience my own energy. And it's like the lather focused feeling. It's like it feels, my energy is like, when she says lather, it's almost like, it's refreshing. It's like, that's how I experience my own energy. But everyone's energy is different. There's like a presence node, a focus node, an awareness node, etc. And everybody has a node that the energy is. And mine is focus. It's blue and purple. Presence is yellow. Awareness is blue. I don't know the colors of all of them. I don't know the color, for instance, of attention. I haven't gotten into attention as much as I've gotten into the others. You can only practice so much. You can't multitask these things. You can't do presence and attention at the same time unless you're doing half the amount and dividing it. But anyways, okay, so I said I was going to finish on Katy Perry, so I talked about Katy Perry. Path of excitement, suffering, alternating between chasing excitement and doing things that you don't want to do. Tons of growth. And that can continue even after you learn about presence, and you can chase excitement, playing video games, sports, socializing, pursuing career goals, and then doing things that you don't want to do, which is maybe even more effective. Working, going to school, if you don't want to go to school. If you do want to go to school, then that's a path of excitement. And being productive and doing all that stuff. And then meditation is not particularly exciting, though it can be, but it's the going into the body and doing the right thing. It's like you get a lot of results from it, and then so it would be like if you're doing a lot of future chasing and suddenly you're disillusioned and it's taken away from you, then you're going to feel like, oh God, I'm so bored, miserable, and lonely and depressed, and oh my God, it's horrible. So meditation is going into that and like getting that out of your system and like healing that and like working through that. So so it's basically like doing more of the work that the future chasing was doing the whole time. So anyways, yeah, that's my take. And yeah, we'll see how this video does. And I'm not expecting too much because right now it's hard for me to even handle social interactions with other people and stuff like that. So, but hopefully I can even post this video, and I don't know, I might start commenting on other people's videos and trying to like, that's the way to get more views, is to comment on other videos, and then people see your channel and they click on it. Anyways, and I think I have some art, a drawing for my thumbnail for my channel, and if you are wondering, yes, I did make that. So that is my art, and that was a drawing that I did of a girl online, and I sent it to her, and I don't think she even saw it because I don't think maybe she did. I don't think she checked her mail, but it was like it was a webcam model, basically an online stripper, but I can't really do very much right now, but during COVID, since I can't go on Draw Girls